last week we left off on a documentary deep dive. We ran out of time. And so we're going to pick up where we left off. Obviously, I haven't learned my lesson from the previous documentary deep dive drama I'm in. But I'm sorry. Like, I think that this documentary that we talked about last week is such an important documentary for so many people to watch. And just to recap, so we talked about the documentary called Sin Eater, The Crimes of Anthony Pellicano. It's a New York Times documentary that basically discussed the life and work of Anthony Pellicano, who was a notorious criminal Hollywood fixer. Okay. And we talked about what a fixer is last week. Basically someone who is hired to clean up and cover up Hollywood messes from, lightweight, embarrassing scandals all the way up to straight up illegal activity. And let's keep it real, including, okay, you know what? Murder. Okay. So this guy basically ended up getting arrested because he was doing illegal shit to accomplish this job. And all of this stuff came out about him. And the New York Times did a documentary on basically the deep, dark secrets of him and the secrets that he kept for Hollywood. And last week, we talked about how he was the fixer on the Michael Jackson trial, the Michael Jackson molestation trial from 1993. Now, that was one of the things we talked about, was the fact that nobody knew that Michael Jackson had hired a fixer. They made it seem like, they billed him as a security consultant. Nobody knew that Michael Jackson had hired a fixer on this case, right? That's a huge red flag. Ain't nobody innocent getting mixed up with this criminal to clear their name. Huge red flag. But I want to get into the actual rest of this documentary, because this other part, we got into it last week. I previewed a little bit, which was the Chris Rock conversation that was recorded. So if you want to find out the background on Anthony Pellicano, go back to the previous episode. But we find out that after Anthony Pellicano was arrested, the FBI, everybody raids his stuff, and he was recording his conversations, of course, That way he can have something to hold over these motherfuckers' heads if they ever try to turn on him, So he's recording these conversations. And one of the conversations that they talk about in the documentary is a conversation between him and Chris Rock. I'm going to play this shit, and I want you to just listen.
Example of how Pellicano would operate.
The first one that comes to mind is the Chris Rock recording.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm all right.
Chris Rock, he was married at the time, and he was at the Four Seasons with a friend, and they ended up picking up two women, and he ended up sleeping with one of them. This woman is now claiming to have Chris Rock's baby. She's also alleging that he forced himself on her.
Steven called me this morning. Yeah?
The file.
Oh, I want to hear.
Anthony starts off by telling him that he has gotten the police report.
I'm going to read this to you. I'm not supposed to have this thing. Do you understand that?
Right.
I'm not supposed to have this thing, but I got it.
Nobody knows.
See, any rape victim is confidential. You can't get it. There's no record of it. You understand?
So let's pause there real quick. You hear what Anthony Pellicano says in this conversation? He has access to this rape victim's files, her police files, that he's not supposed to have access to, that according to him is supposed to be confidential. And as we learn towards the end of the documentary, that Anthony Pellicano has police on his payroll, LAPD and Beverly Hills PD on his payroll. So already, shit is sus, okay? This is what they don't tell you when they tell you that these women plead out, that they were being harassed like this, having their confidential files being accessed illegally by a Hollywood fixer. And they were using the information that they get in this to discredit these people, to smear them, and to encourage them, intimidate them, I should say, to drop their case. Let's continue.
Chris Rock might not have broken any laws by listening to this or responding to this or using it in his defense, but certainly what the tape shows is that he raised no objection to being told, I'm not supposed to have this, let's change your story.
Oh, boy, I've been so set up. God. What I need to know from you, honey, is what do you need to know? Did you come on her thighs? You said you had a rub on it, brother. I had a rubber on. I probably took it off right when I was getting ready to come. Probably came on her ass, So, you gotta change your story now.
We have somebody.
Let me pause it right there. Y'all heard what he said? He recounts the whole story. Oh, you probably. Nigga, you know what you did. Oh, I probably pulled the rubber. You know what you did. And what does Pellicano say to him after all that? Well, you know we got to change the story now. But why would the story change if you're telling the truth? And you hear Chris Rock being like, oh my God, I can't believe this. This was such a setup. How was it a setup that a married man went to a hotel room with a woman? That was a setup. Did you get drugged and wake up in a hotel room? Because I don't think that's what went down. As usual, these powerful men, they don't take any responsibility for their behavior. It's the same story it's always a setup. It's always a shakedown. It's always extortion. But we got to change the story.
With means and power, who's able to employ somebody like Anthony Pellicano, playing the system to their own benefit. It's a total imbalance of power.
The wonderful thing about this is that the police department didn't believe her. Once, you're accused of rape, it's just fucked. You're just fucked. I know, that's why I want to blacken this girl up. Totally. You are just. Do you understand? Yeah, I know, but I want to make her out to be a lying scumbag, manipulating cocksucker. That's what I want.
Did you hear that shit? Did you hear that shit? First and foremost, he goes, the wonderful thing is that the police didn't believe her. Why would Popo ever believe a rape victim? Because she accused Chris Rock of rape, not just fathering her baby, but rape. Why would Popo ever believe a rape victim? That part got me so much, because that's the same damn story that we hear over. This is why when people say, why don't you go to the cops? Because they don't fucking believe you. When they say, why didn't you say something? Because motherfuckers like you be asking, why didn't you say something? Because you don't want to believe people. You're the people that make people not want to speak up. And what does he say? I'm just, what's Chris Rock's response? He's not even paying attention. He's so swept up in his own self-pity. I'm just, once you're accused of rape, you're just fucked. You're fucked. Okay, dog. And what does this motherfucker, Anthony Pellicano, say? I know. That's why I want to blacken this girl up totally. First of all, they always got to come with these microaggressions. Why you got to blacken her up? Why you got to say that to a black man? And he says, I want to make her out to be a lying scumbag, manipulating cocksucker. That's what I want. Notice he didn't say, I want to prove her to be that. No, he's not. He wanted to make her out to be. Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down here? Are you smelling what I'm stepping in? Okay? That's what they do. They discredit you. They destroy your reputation. They do a smear campaign against you so that you are intimidated into dropping the charges. Or conversely, the public turns on you.